Hey folks, it's Tuesday, the 3rd of May. Coming back at you to honor the memory of some folks. We're just getting old, and so with that comes death, and then unfortunately we've lost some more artists. I've lost some personal friends too, I'll mention. Also, yeah, nobody's getting any younger. So after I made my video yesterday, I got news that Rick Parnell, British drummer, passed away, 70 years old. His biggest claim to fame in the commercial world is that he was the drummer for Spinal Tap. But for us musos, he's done a lot of stuff. Been around for a while. And Atomic Rooster, he was a member of Atomic Rooster on this album. In hearing of Atomic Rooster, good musician. And actually, no, Paul Hammond is listed as the drummer on here. I have to look up and see which album he's on. I think he's listed as playing on this album. But he was also in the band Horse. John McRae, if you see this, thanks for sending this to me. Hard rock. When you hear this, you kind of wonder why didn't we hear more about this? One of those bands like Atomic Rooster, Uriah Heep, Andromeda. Good stuff. Rocks hard. Hard Stuff, too, is another band that comes to mind. But he was also in this jazz fusion band, Nova, with the guys that used to be in Osana. And Wings of Love. This is a good album. Good album. Rick Parnell also, not that long ago, played with Brand X. Percy Jones and John Goodsall, those guys. Yeah. Good drummer. And he was in this band, Ibis, Sun Supreme. Progressive rock out of Italy. This is a cool album. And this is an interesting reissue where it's on this cool looking gold. It's noisy though. You can actually hear the damn pressing. But Rick is on here. I'm also happy to say that Rick was a friend on Facebook. I'd never met him, but we actually had a funny exchange a couple of times. He had had quite a sense of humor. And they're still in, that stuff is archived. I forget what it was about, but rest in peace, Rick Parnell. Sorry to hear that he passed away. I see in my feed today that we lost another, and her age shows, again, what I'm saying. We're no spring chickens anymore, but Judy Henske made this great album with Jerry Yester, Farewell Aldebaran. And she was a folk singer and was had her own thing going back in the 60s. This album is unusual. This is really quite good. But she was 84, I understand, from the news, and that she died in hospice. We're not getting any younger, so wanted to mention those two. I like to make mention of musicians that I like, who, in my opinion, are deserving of greater recognition or being remembered more. Both the folks I mentioned today are in that category. Their contributions were notable. And for you new viewers, I just want to again let people know that this is not a show where I'm set up and I'm just at home. This is my music room. I'm having my morning coffee, and I'm doing this not to people please, but because I want to share. this is something I've always wanted to do. I love music. I've been a nerd about music since I was a kid. And back in the 60s, before I knew anything about computers, I would imagine opening up a book and the picture on the page would come to life. And you would get to watch the picture from the moment the picture was taken forward. This is that, in essence, for me. So that's partly why I enjoy getting on here and running my mouth and just saying what's on my mind. Plus, it's real communication. It's a real connection to you, to my family, all over the country, particularly out in California. Good morning, family. So that brings to mind my next, what I want to share is that yesterday I lost some personal friends, unfortunately. John Clemenson died. He was a local musician. I played with John, not in a band, but we played shows together with his band and my bands. I was helping to run a place called the Hi-Fi House for a while, and we employed him for a time, trying to help him with some tough times. He was a big guy, had a lot of talent, but was a troubled person, so I'm really sorry that things didn't get better for John. He passed away. And then someone from my past, family, Stephanie, you'll remember. The Roundtree sisters, Boletta and Priscilla, remember them? Priscilla passed away. And they were friends of mine, and I dated Boletta, but I used to, in junior high and high school, the girls were friends of mine. And they were people I would hang out with. I'd go to their house and play with the Roundtree sisters. Sorry to hear that Priscilla's passed away. And to wrap that up, before I move on and talk a little more about music, Kareem, you'll want to know, and Pat Bullock, you're watching, you'll see this eventually. I got a call yesterday from my friend Gary, and Gary was close, like family. He was the person that I went to after I found my brother passed away in his apartment. Gary's the first person that I went to see and cried with we cried together at his apartment. But Gary called me yesterday to tell me that he has been diagnosed with lung cancer and had just gotten out of the hospital. And it's sad because it's already debilitating him. It's terminal. It sucks. So I'm sharing that news with the world and with my family through this. You'll hear this. Kareem, if you want to give me a call about that. I know when you were in town here for Patrick's passing and everything that you spent time with Gary. You guys have a relationship. It's heavy shit, So rest in peace, everybody. What else is going on is today I have 2 interviews for local magazines. That's what this thing is about. That blow-up poster is back in 2016, the local magazine Encounter, which is kind of a business entertainment monthly, did an article on my my music. I'm doing an interview this morning, first for the reader. They want some input about my thoughts on live music and where it's going. And then after that, I have a interview with Omaha Magazine. They're going to be doing a feature on me that'll be out in July. And they're claiming they want to do a comprehensive overview of my life, my career, as it were, my music. So that's happening today. I like that stuff. I look forward to it. I do. I enjoy. It's part of what I wanted. I didn't want the money. I wanted recognition for what I do. And it really, a lot of it has to do with the Beatles. I was playing this last night. Beatles for Sale. This is not one of their best albums, but this is one where I really like that cover. And so I'll play it just so I can look at it. Well, that's not completely true. There are a couple of songs in here I really like. This is where they did the remastering in the 2000s, 2009. Really nice job on these. Stephanie, you remember my sister, I know you're watching. Beatles changed everything for me, seemingly for everyone, for the world. Babies in Black. No, well, shit, what am I saying? I'll follow the sun 8 days a week. I don't want to spoil the party. Actually, I love this album. The rock and roll songs, rock and roll music, those are kind of like, you just skip over them, It's just enough. That's enough of that old rock and roll. You've heard it too many times. But I got into that yesterday. And, excuse me, I see another person that passed away, damn it. Gabe Serbian of the Locust. Pulled this yesterday after I heard about his passing, the drummer. He was young, 44. What's up, people? What's up with people dying? Plague Soundscapes. Now, how I don't know how they can replace Gabe Serbian with this music. It's so involved and so... It's a thing of its own, Locust music. You have to hear it. It sounds like Locusts. It's just really harsh and edgy and moving fast and garbled vocals. You can't really understand what they're screaming about. But it's complex and I love it. And unfortunately, the drummer died. All these people dying. It sucks. It sucks. I put on some Vangelis yesterday. Entends-tu le chien Aboyer. I have this by another title. I forget what it is from, some movie or something. But this was good. This is a long piece that just goes. And Vangelis is good at that. He's got that custom-made keyboard setup that I've seen in a documentary about him. Well, he knows how to manipulate that thing to great effect. This is really enjoyable. So before I forget, I want to share that I see that Bandcamp is going to continue with Bandcamp Fridays for the foreseeable future. And I thank them because it's a boon to us artists, independent artists. They don't make much, but because they waive their usual fees, that one day 90% of each sale on that day goes to the artist. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to release another new record or digital release, but this is of old material, okay? With that in mind, to share more music and also to take advantage of their willingness to help artists. So I'm just waking up, and some days I do better than others. I feel like I'm just kind of going, but I'm going to keep going. Some of you have bought a CD of mine called The World is Burning. Still available, put out by Randy's Alternative Music out of Pittsburgh. And what that is that's a compilation of older material that I recorded back in the 90s through the 2000s. Stuff that my friend Randy, who runs the label and had a record store, really liked. Well, I have a large body of archives of works and recordings to share. And so what I did is I've chosen about 45 minutes of stuff that I've never put out before. Some things are like snippets, other things are like ideas that got started, but it's from that period when I was before MIDI for me. So here you hear me playing bass guitar, keyboards and drums, and there's some singing as well. I'm going to release it on Friday. I haven't decided the title of it yet. It will be to do with the past. But I plan to put that out on Friday for this month's Bandcamp Friday. And I also want to encourage you folks to pick up on my great nephew Osio's new CD. An Exit Before Entrance. Upon Entrance. He's on Bandcamp. And other artists. Matter of fact, I do say things like, and matter of fact, it's just the way I am. One of the things I did yesterday, and I do this every now and then because it's part of my nature, is I went on Bandcamp and I listened to the top selling Nebraska artists. Like I listened to probably at least 30 different titles, just going through listening what's actually happening. These are the people that people are buying their music from Nebraska. What are they doing? So I listened. And then I went national. I went to the all of them of USA. I went to their top sellers and started listening to a bunch of that stuff. And I was not impressed overall. It left me feeling even better about what I do. Because I'm not trying to sound like techno. I'm not trying to sound like house. I'm not trying to sound like folk. I'm not trying to sound like anybody. It's a dream come true that my music is very original. It sounds like me. I don't know anybody that sounds like me. You can hear some influences of stuff, but my music is mine. No one has come up yet with somebody that sounds like me, because I'm not trying to sound like anyone else. And I would be curious to hear someone who's making music that is literally quite similar to what I do. So I haven't heard them. So that's Friday. A couple more things sitting out. This is an obscure Italian band that I don't know anything about. It seems like they come out of the goth scene or something like that. But when I found this record in the cover, this looks like prog. And then consequently, some of the album sounds like prog, and then some of it sounds like goth. I think the name of the band is Patali del Cariglioni. Carillon del Dolore. Anybody watching this that actually knows this band or has seen them or can tell me something? I'd love to know, because there's nothing about them that I can find online. I like this album. It's on a rather interesting label, Contempo. For a while, when I would see these records, Contempo, they ended up in Omaha and they weren't selling, so I was able to buy them at lower prices. But I kept a lot of the titles that I found on this label because the stuff is kind of interesting, kind of different. Capitolo 4, yeah, interesting cover, and I like this. It's strange sound. The other thing I played yesterday, after I got the call from Gary, just really bummed me out, because Gary was being honest. We're close, we don't spend a lot of time together, but he's like family. So he was just going ahead and freaking out on the phone with me because he had just found out he had just gotten out of the hospital. So I listened to this. Seefeel Quique, however you say it. Whatever you call this, it's just fantastic, and it's one of those things that you can play over and over and over again, and it's really cool the way that they literally make this music. It sounds very electronic, but it's organic. They're playing it with drums and bass and guitars and and keyboards. There's some good live clips of them online where you see them, playing this, and I was like, wow, they're getting this sound live. I think this is a classic album. It's from the 90s originally, 1993. It still sounds modern to me. Still sounds of the moment. Seefeel. Love it, love it, love it. Love it, love it, love it. So that's what I want to share this morning. And it's just reality that as the days go by, more people will be leaving us because it's just the way time goes. The clock doesn't go back, it goes forward. So I have those interviews today, and I have some editing and some EQ work to do on these old tracks that I'm going to release on Friday. I thought I had a title for it already, but anyway, I hope today there's some good news of some sort somewhere. It would be nice, wouldn't it? Y'all take care. Stay in touch. Let me know how you're doing.